Hi, gang. It's Kale.
And Patrick.
Coming up on today's episode, we're off to the races in our interview with actor, writer, director, sports announcer, and runDisney MC, John Pelkey. As always, we discuss the latest Disney news, and we close out the show with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Patrick, when I lived in Porpoisepit, I'd just stay in my room for hours and listen to ABBA songs. Sometimes I'd stay in there all day, but since I've met you and moved to Sydney, I haven't listened to one ABBA song. That's because now my life's as good as an ABBA song. It's as good as Dancing Queen. Kazuki!
Kale, you're getting married, Muriel. English.
How are you?
I'm good. Do you know that I love that movie, Muriel's Wedding? It is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It doesn't shock me because you and I have very similar senses of humor, except yours is a little more dark than mine. But I can't believe we've never discussed that movie more.
It's so good. And the fact that Toni Collette is Muriel in it is shocking. It is shocking.
It really is. So this is like the funniest story ever. As like a middle schooler, I was obsessed with that movie and then watched it all the time, like knew every line, and then for like 10 years didn't even think about it. And then randomly when I became friends with the Steamboat Willies, that's like Mark's favorite movie. And I was like, oh my God, I remember this. It all came back to me. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. I always wanted to learn the dance that they do to Waterloo because it's so clutch.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Because Mark is a blonde and I'm a brunette, we do know it.
Oh, no.
We perform it for Roger after long Saturday night cocktails. But,
Great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'm sure he's obsessed with it.
So how have you been really?
Mental health check-in.
Yes.
Good, pretty good. You and I have been talking a lot lately, and I joined. So full disclosure, I joined Noom. This is not an ad for Noom, but I recently joined Noom. I've always had sort of like body issues, I guess, or I don't know how to explain it, but I'm never really quite satisfied with where I am, and so I joined Noom, and I'm really enjoying it because it also has a really interesting mental health aspect to it. So it's a really good balance for me. Yeah, I'm finding a lot of comfort in it, so I'm glad that I did that, and I feel like I'm on a good trajectory, like mental health and physical health wise right now. So I'm good.
Yeah, that's awesome though. It's been like life's been a little bit stressful. There's nothing that I can pinpoint, but the past like month, I've definitely had to stop myself several times a day and be like, you're only a human being. Oh my
gosh. Yeah.
Get real. But
yeah, for sure. One of the things that like it reminds me of almost daily, because they do like little check-ins, like health check-ins and mental health check-ins, and they're always like coaching you to go, every single day can be a new day. Like you can hit that reset button every single moment of your day, and it's like, oh yeah, you kind of forget about that. Like you don't have to make yourself suffer. You can get out of it.
Right. Yeah. So what's that quote? Is it Anne of Green Gables where she says tomorrow is perfect with no mistakes in it yet? JT would know, and I don't think that's Anne of Green Gables now that I've said it.
He would know.
JT would know.
It's probably from the Disney TV show Avonlea, probably is where it's from,
right.
Which is based off of Anne of Green Gables.
It's probably Muriel's Wedding.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Right.
Oh, good times. So how are you, Kale?
Honestly, I'm doing better now. I will say after shortly after I think we recorded the last episode, I did sort of do like a weird spiral and tried to manage it really well. Sort of like, hey, I'm just heading down there real quick. Anybody need anything? And then thought I was on top of it. Was not, but it didn't get the best of me. We came close. But I have a really, really great support system. I call and check in with you a lot because you thoroughly understand it. And so that's not a read. You're just my
No, I'm
my
I'm a mess as
co-crazy
well.
friend. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, but it's been this week specifically has been better. Sometimes for me to like look myself in the face and just be like, you're having feelings. Feelings are a human reaction to things. It's sometimes just something as simple as that. I mean, even like what you said a while ago, that mantra of every morning you get to start again. Sometimes really simple things like that go a long way mentally, you know? And so it's been good. I have, since the last time we have spoken live on air, I have been to Walt Disney World.
That's right.
Yes, with the Steamboat Willies. Yes, so much fun. It was just, I mean, just a really quick, short trip up there, or down there rather. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was very good for my mental health, and so
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that we're doing these check-ins. I'm glad we're adding it to sort of our roster of things to talk about here on the podcast.
Yeah, me too. It's not lost on me that this is your real way of getting me to tell the truth. But this is... right. It's not lost on me that you're like, he'll only talk if we put him on stage. So...
It's true. It's true. You know, there's an interesting parable. I don't know if you know it. We'll get into Disney pretty soon here, probably. Yeah. But there's an interesting sort of mental health parable that I like to remind myself of too, and remind others of like the guy who falls, or the person who falls in a pit and is stuck down there, and like the first person comes by and calls down and says, "Are you okay?" and keeps on walking, and the second person does the same thing, and the third person does the same thing, and then the last person gets into the hole and sits down and says, "Well, we're in this together," and then the other guy goes, "Yeah, but now we're both stuck." And the guy who gets down there, I'm paraphrasing what his actual parable is, but the guy who gets down there with him and says, "Yeah, but I've been down here before, and I know the way out." And so it's like it just takes that one person to like sit with you, and it's okay to sit with somebody in the pits as long as you know how to get out together, you know?
It does. I feel like you just thoroughly described a meme. Like, if there's ever one day a meme dictionary, that's your job.
Perfect. Someone draw that for us. Someone meme that for us. I love it. Anyway, so it's good to check in with each other, and it's good to like get down in the pits with each other and help each other out.
Absolutely. So, well, now that we have thoroughly checked in, are you ready to dive into the Disney?
Let's start talking about Disney. Why don't we?
Let's do it.
Since we have a Disney podcast, let's try it.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So since our last episode, we have had 2 huge trailers drop. Right?
Very exciting. Yes, absolutely. So we're talking about Peter Pan and Wendy, which just dropped like last week, and also the Haunted Mansion trailer finally dropped. It is actually happening, apparently. This Haunted Mansion movie.
I know. I know. So, which one's your favorite?
I think that they're both so different, but I really
I see the same movie.
I really liked both of them. Actually, I was surprised by both of them. Peter Pan and Wendy looks like it's going to be absolutely epic.
I agree. Yes. Yeah.
And it was fun to see such a diverse cast of the Lost Boys,
very
and the
much
Lost
so.
Girls,
Yes,
the Lost people that they are now. It's incredible. I think it's going to be hopefully it's going to be a really inclusive movie, and a beautiful movie as well.
It looks visually stunning. I will say I am a tiny bit not disappointed. I will say I think that maybe it made me look less forward to the Haunted Mansion movie, only because I was sort of really hoping they weren't going to go super camp with it this go around. And even though it does look like they're going in a scarier direction than they did with the first Haunted Mansion movie.
Yeah.
I still wish that they would have maybe just made it an all out scary film, and
Yeah, I'm interested. I really liked the trailer. I liked what I saw.
I did too.
I'm nervous. Yeah. I'm nervous that we saw a lot of like the only good bits. You know how they do that a lot. Often?
Yes, and it does feel that way when you watch it. It feels like they took the best of what they had, because it's not a super cohesive trailer. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I'm not quite sure what I was looking at when I saw it, but it has some interesting elements, right? Like it does have some camp, like the first one did. It kind of plays tribute to the first movie, it seems like, but also pays closer attention to the actual ride itself. Whereas the first movie didn't really; it was just a mansion that was haunted. This one actually looks like elements from the attraction are in it.
It does. There was even the wallpaper, things like that. You know, it was sort of you did sort of feel like you were in a doom buggy. You know what I mean? Like when they would show like the hallway and so that's cool. That's a cool element to it.
Yeah, and the bride looked terrifying.
Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Yeah, which is that's good. Maybe I'm not giving it enough credit just yet. But
it's hard to know. It's early. Yeah. It's early days still. I'm interested, though, in why... So Peter Pan and Wendy is coming out on April 28th, but it's only going to be streaming on Disney+, where I thought, this feels like a movie I would go see in the theaters.
No, well, even the quality of the trailer, to be honest, it felt very... well done. Like, I mean, it wasn't Hocus Pocus 2. That I loved Hocus Pocus 2, and so that's not a read, but obviously the film quality wasn't what Peter Pan and Wendy looks like it's going to be. And so I feel like it could have been a big budget blockbuster, but
Totally agree. And then so on the flip side, Haunted Mansion is coming out on July 28th, and that will be in theaters, which kind of surprised me.
Because it was toilet paper and string. I'm kidding.
But I was like, if I was going to decide if one of these is going to be in the theater, I would put Peter Pan there instead of Haunted Mansion. But
I would have to. So you are aware, and this is not in our show notes. I'm going off script.
Oh my goodness, what am I going to do?
You are aware that this weekend we get a third trailer.
Oh, for The Little Mermaid?
The Little Mermaid during the Oscars.
Very exciting. What a great moment for that to drop too.
I know.
They must be really proud of this movie because they are dropping it in epic moments, right?
Yes.
It's great.
Well, and not only that, but it feels, I mean, and maybe I'm a little biased here because Little Mermaid is special to me, but I feel like a lot of times when they're trying to do these slow unveilings of these live action movies that sometimes I feel like it never gets oversaturated. Like you almost don't get enough content before the movie comes out to get excited. But with this, I feel like they're giving us so much like poster, doll. Do you know what I mean? And we still have like months to go. But I mean, I personally, I could never get enough. It could be crazy oversaturated and I would be in heaven because this, I truly think this is about to be a perfect film.
I'm very excited about it. I think it looks so beautiful. I have to say, I don't want to go negative. I'm so annoyed by all of the people out there who were like, why is it this? And why is it this? And why does it look like this? And da-da-da. And I don't mean like, obviously Halle Bailey, like of it all, there's that's a whole different story. But like, even just like critiquing like the colors that are being used in it. It's like, calm down. Stop looking for something to not like,
I know.
It's like, okay. I don't know. I didn't like the poster because it was too muted. It's like,
I know.
Hold, please. Like we still have months and months to go. Yeah,
I know. She's also supposed to be at the bottom of the ocean where the sun would not be shining. But I mean, but no,
it's ridiculous.
You're correct because there was an entire like Instagram, I guess, sort of like thread that I read the other day that was all talking about the new stylized flounder and how he didn't look cartoony, and I was like, right, because she's not a cartoon, so it wouldn't make a lot of sense. Do you know what I mean?
I know, it's not Who Framed Roger Rabbit. They're not like acting with animated characters.
But, it was. Yeah, but I am super excited, and honestly, I'm so excited for her. I cannot wait for. Amazing.
Yeah, very exciting. Stay tuned, everybody. So actually, that's going to come out sooner than we think it is.
It is.
It's actually right around the corner.
Yes, May 26th. That could be wrong. You think of me of all people. Oh my gosh. Everybody stay woke. Hold on. May 26th. I was correct.
You were correct. Yeah. Well, good. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You did something right. We don't have to do a sorry about it with that date, but Should we move on to what we do have to do a sorry about it?
Sorry about it. Yes. Go ahead.
You know what? I'll take the blame for this, Kel. I'll fall on the sword that you threw in front of me.
Yeah.
But we on the last episode, I incorrectly announced a date for our very first Patreon watch party. I said it was going to be this month, March 18th. But Kale, please correct me and the listeners when this is actually going to be happening.
It will be Saturday, April the 8th.
Saturday, April 8th at 2 p.m. Central Time or Eastern Time?
Eastern Standard Time.
It's 2 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, so Patreon members out there, you will now be getting an email from Gaze to the D letting you know this new date for the watch party. You'll get a Zoom calendar invite, and we will figure it out from there. One thing we have to figure out logistically, and Patreon members, if you have an idea, let us know, is that Disney Plus will not let you watch a movie via Zoom or share a movie via Zoom, so we may all have to sort of press play at the same time, but we'll figure it out. It'll be fun, regardless.
It's a shame that they don't trust us. Like, they think we're going to do something illegal, like stream it online to several people. You know?
It's true. So I guess therein lies the problem in that, not the problem, but all of our Patreon members, if you do join, you don't have to, but it is recommended that you are a Disney Plus subscriber because you'll easily be able to watch the movie that we are going to be viewing. But, you're also welcome to rent it, or maybe some of you have it. Who knows?
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of Patreon, we actually have a new Patreon member.
We sure do. Before we do the will you remind our listeners what movie we are going to be watching?
Oh, yeah.
April 8th?
Yes. Hold on just a quick second because I have a whole thing.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, I can't wait.
Hold on. I do. Zetus Lapidus, Patreon exclusive. Are you Supernova girls ready for a GDTD watch party major? Come decked out in your most lunarious threads and watch Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century, with us. Join us on Zoom for a stellar good time, Saturday, April 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can't make it? Sweat minor. We will host GDTD watch parties quarterly.
Oh boy, that was a lot. That was a lot to listen to, but very exciting. Well done to you.
Thank you.
My husband, my husband Dan, is very excited that we are going to be watching this movie because I will actually have to sit through this entire movie.
You've never watched it?
Not all the way through. I usually walk out about halfway through, or 5 minutes in. I usually leave the room. I'm like, I can't. This is not.
Yeah,
for me.
Here's the thing that I've learned with Disney Plus is that a lot of those Disney Channel original movies, they are really. I don't know what makes it different, but watching them with commercials, you feel like you're sort of watching like an actual film. But then when you're watching it without commercials and it's just a 45-minute TV episode. Do you know what I mean? Like there's something, it doesn't slap the same as you seeing Xenon get into trouble, and then it's, then it's a Disney World commercial. And then
maybe we should add commercial breaks in our watch party then.
should each co-host do their own commercial for something?
I am nervous about what the products might be that we do commercials for. So maybe
I know
not.
JT is sick for real. And so it would seriously. So I'm just gonna circle back. We do have a new Patreon member whose name is Warren.
Warren, thank you so much for joining our Patreon family.
Yes, thank you. And speaking of Warren and family, I have an uncle named Warren, but my family is so country that I was 12 years old before I realized his name was not Warren.
Warren.
Yeah,
Warren.
W-O-R-N. Yes,
Fantastic.
But thank you, Warren, and welcome.
Welcome, Warren. For those of you who don't know, now you do know, we do, of course, have a Patreon page where for as little as $1 reoccurring a month, you too can become a part of our Patreon family where you will get exclusive. Can we call them benefits? Sure, why not? We're going to call them benefits.
Absolutely, yeah. Not liabilities, definitely.
Definitely not liabilities, such as the Patreon watch party. Warren, did you join just for the Patreon watch party?
Did you join for
not.
this watch party?
You are in for a disappointment. JK. But beyond the watch parties that are coming out, you'll have extra episodes of Gaze to the D called Gaze to the D Raw and Uncut. You'll be automatically entered in Patreon-only giveaways. The benefits list kind of stops there, but it's going to grow. It's going to grow.
Yeah. Those are our only benefits currently, but we do have a list of others. Medical. I'm just kidding. But no, it probably is just the watch party. But
it's probably just watch party. But also, you have the benefit of knowing that every dollar that you donate to us goes directly into the podcast itself for platform hosting fees, microphones, equipment, and, Patreon giveaway prizes as well.
Yes.
And whatever we don't spend, we usually end up donating to charities. So your dollar is going a very long way. So thank you to all of our current Patreon members, and thank you to our future Patreon members, because I know you're out there.
Patrick.
Yes, Kale.
We have some Tweedles out there that are celebrating.
I love it. Bow, 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 bow. Celebrate Tweedles. Come on. No. Oh gosh, are we going to get sued? Did we sing too much of it?
Oh no. Did we go beyond 10 seconds? Isn't that the rule? Isn't there a 10-second rule? No. But should you and I start like an a cappella duet type deal where like...
Sure. Why not?
Where I do like vocals and then you do the...
Just the sound effects?
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah. We're going to do it. Maybe that's the next thing we're going to offer our Patreon family members is songs.
Benefit number 3. Yes. Okay, Patrick, what are we celebrating?
So many things. All of you, I love when you write in your celebrations. They're so much fun to read.
This is my favorite.
Let's kick it off with @Andy Heath Puppeteer. Andy is one of the greatest people in the whole world.
Yes.
He's celebrating our new rescue dog, Luna, who is just incredible. I love that.
Luna. Yes,
Hi,
I do
Luna.
too. Well, congrats to you, Andy, and congrats to Luna.
Yeah, what a lucky rescue dog.
@Bethany_A30 going to Disneyland Paris, which is my first Disney park.
Yes, it is. I love how you turn these stories into a story about Kale almost every single time. It's fantastic. It's a true talent.
Me and Bethany are fancy. Yep.
You are indeed. Moving on, we have @ADV Parker celebrating getting a neurology appointment, and quickly too. ADV Parker, we need more information. Are you okay?
Yeah.
And we are glad that you are taking care of yourself.
Here goes the deal. If you're celebrating, we're celebrating, but
That's right.
context is key. Yes.
Yes. So hopefully you're doing well. I assume that you are because you're celebrating it.
@Disney Dad Collective, my husband's 30th, and first trip with my service dog to the park. Well, congrats on both of those things. Yes.
Yes, happy 30th. Moving on, we have @Giselle in the Sky with Rainbows. Are you related to Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? Giselle in the Sky with Rainbows?
Yeah.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Giselle is celebrating 253 days till, not that I'm counting, till Disneyland, Disney Cruise, and Disney World. Interesting. Are you taking like a whirlwind tour across the country with Disney? We need more information.
I do too, but do you know people do that like all the time?
Yeah.
Like there are people both times that I've taken a cruise, there are people that get off the cruise and then stay at Disney World for like a week, which is incredible. That's not a judgment, but like how cool.
No. For sure. But Giselle is also going to Disneyland and then Disney World and
she's
then
taking
cruise.
a private Disney cruise from Florida to California. And then,
I certainly hope so. Hope so. Tell us all about it.
Yes. @Allie_Joy_W, spring break, staying home and enjoying a week of rest and binging trash TV. Allie, tell me what you think about Dance Moms, because it got me through the past 2 weeks.
Oh, that show hurts my heart.
It's awful. It's a little
too far
awful.
even for me. And I love garbage television.
Listen, it is rancid. It is absolute. There's not, other than like the one child, I think her name is Chloe. She's the only like redeemable kid, like the only thing that even like gives me faith in any part of the show. But they're horrible to her. Sorry, another podcast, different podcast.
Moving on, we have @Tony_Haynes celebrating Ray's recovering well. Long-time listener of the show, he suffered a bad stroke on February 10th, but it sounds like he's recovering well, so we are thankful.
Yes, we are very thankful. At Robstagram, booking my first Disney cruise for my partner's 40th B-Day. The planning is my gift for me. Well, that's amazing. Yes.
I love that. I want a cruise for my birthday. I think I got like some bubble bath for my birthday. It wasn't a cruise.
Yeah, Steve got a cruise for his birthday. I didn't get a cruise for my birthday, but I'm not like, am I angry? No. Do you know what I mean? Even though, but it's whatever.
Am I angry? No. Am I getting revenge? Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. Am I still paying it off? Yes.
Well, happy birthday to your partner, Rob, and congratulations on the planning being the gift for you. Apparently,
yes. These were some great celebrations, guys. Keep them coming.
Yes, they were. Thank you, everybody, for sending those in. Carol, are you celebrating this week in Disney history now?
All right,
Perfect.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Well, I'll involve you in it this time because I'll put you to the test on one of them. Is that
Oh,
okay?
dear, yeah. Okay.
I know, great. But the first one is a birthday. So 123 years ago, on March 13th, 1900, writer and animator Ted Sears was born in Massachusetts. In 1931, Sears became the very first senior writer at the Walt Disney Company. He worked for Disney for 27 years, working on projects like Snow White, Pinocchio, Dumbo, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Sleeping Beauty, the Disneyland television series, and many of the Disney nature films. Now, fun fact, Sears was originally going to voice Pinocchio, but during production, the character was reimagined and child actor Dickie Jones was cast instead.
I knew it was Dickie Jones. I didn't realize that it almost went to an animator. That's really cool.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
It sounds like we need to do a deep dive on Pinocchio to figure out what the character was originally going to be.
We should.
Why it wasn't a child actor.
Yeah, we should definitely do a deep dive of Pinocchio and also talk about just like WTF, because watching it as an adult is very different than watching it as a child. It's a little traumatizing. It is absolutely terrifying.
It's about child trafficking. Let's be very clear.
It is quite literally. Yes.
Oh boy. So, well, happy birthday, Ted Sears. And moving on, Kale, not so long ago, this is going to put you to the test. 8 years ago, Kale, this live action remake was released on March 13th, 2015. Which movie do you think it was? And I can give you some hints if you need some.
Okay, don't give them to me yet.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to say Jungle Book.
It was not.
What was
Jungle
it?
Book. Well, I'm going to give you a hint.
Oh, Pete's Dragon.
Okay. Stop guessing. I'm going to give you a hint and see if you can get it.
Okay.
So at the time, it was the highest grossing film to date for the director, Kenneth Branagh.
Oi. Hold on. Don't tell me.
Do you want another clue?
Yeah, give me another clue.
Okay, another clue. So 10,000 Swarovski crystals were used in one of the costumes.
Cinderella.
It is. Ding, 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 Cinderella.
I need you to know that even I saw Cinderella like the weekend that it opened, and for some reason in my brain just now, that was the furthest from my mind because I kept going, I know it wasn't Beauty and the Beast because Beauty and the Beast was like 2017. I think. Sorry.
I think so too. Yeah. No, you're good. But it does seem like Cinderella came out 42 years ago.
No,
like,
it does.
It seems forever ago.
Yeah. I mean, because this is how I relate. Now that I've been like in this house for 10 years, I relate that to everything in time. And so it's weird to me that I would have seen it while living in this house. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It seems like it was a long, long time ago. But, happy birthday, Cinderella.
Happy birthday, Cinderella. Fun fact, I think if it's not, maybe it is. I might be claiming right here, right now, that is my favorite live action Disney
I was
movie.
literally about to ask if you liked it. I actually love that movie.
Yeah, it's so great. It's so beautiful. It could have used some diversity, I believe, in the movie.
Very much so. I will agree with you there. I think that yes. I mean, anywhere.
Well, fair. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I will agree with you there. I do think that it was a very well done movie. As much as I love Helena Bonham Carter, her as the fairy godmother is always a little weird just because it...
Now, see, I kind of loved her as a fairy godmother because she did something that she doesn't normally do. She did glamour for this one. Like she was still like a little quirky and a little kooky as the fairy godmother, as she's wont to be. She's Helena Bonham Carter, but they like glammed her up, and I was like, wow, I don't usually see that from Helena Bonham Carter. So.
I mean, I guess just like attitude wise, like personality wise, the original fairy godmother was an icon. And it's like the new one is just a pretty lady. And so it's
Yeah.
But
and I mean Kate Blanchett was just like
perfection.
Poured into all of her costumes as well.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean absolutely amazing. Yeah.
That's the costuming in that movie was fantastic. In fact, I think that was the only Academy Award it was nominated for, I believe, was costumes.
Yeah. The Prince Charming's, or what is it, Kit? Is that his name? It's not Charming, right? In the live action, it's
Richard Madden. Richard Madden played it.
But his costumes in it are incredible.
All of them. Every single costume is just ridiculous. Loved it. So that, everybody, was this week in Disney.
I always forget about that movie.
Well, fair enough. Speaking of things that are forgettable, Kale, should we go into the news and then quickly forget what we're about to talk about in the news?
Yeah, let's go into the news.
I'm already mad about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, buckle up, everybody. Last time on everyone's favorite daytime drama, Reedy Creek, our Tweedles may remember that everyone's favorite villain, Ron DeSantis, threw a hissy fit over Disney's objection to the Parental Bill of Rights law, aka the Don't Say Gay bill, by taking his toys and running home with them. I don't like this man.
I know.
Like Ron DeSantis.
I know.
He's very scary. Very scary person.
They're terrifying.
Yeah. So we have more to talk about here with Reedy Creek and the dissolvement of it. So with the dissolvement of the Reedy Creek district, Disney will no longer govern itself when it comes to things like construction or road maintenance. Replacing the district is what's now called the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. And just when you thought things couldn't get worse, old DeSantis Claus is at it again. He has now begun to stack the board of the Oversight District with his cronies, let's just say, right?
Yep.
So, first up, we have Bridget Ziegler, who was a co-author of the Don't Say Gay bill. Another member appointed by DeSandwich is Ron Perry, who is a former pastor of Evangel Baptist Church. But wait, there's more. We also have Martin Garcia, a major donor to the Florida Republican Party, specifically a major donor to Ron DeSantis. Now, the new board recently met for the first time and have hinted at some of their upcoming legislative goals, which include eliminating 2 cities that were created after the original approval of the Reedy Creek District in 1967, and, wait for it, prohibiting any COVID-19 restrictions at Walt Disney World, which means, if approved, if COVID-19 has a major resurgence, it would be against the law for Disney to enforce any safety measures. Kale, thoughts?
Listen, I mean, it's insane when reading about this that it's any of it's legal. I mean, any part of it, but it just, I mean, I can't, it just seems like every time something happens, I'm like, well, this has to be the worst, right? It never is. Yeah.
No, it's always horrible, but it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. You know, it's interesting. You and I talk about this a lot of like, how do we navigate these waters a little bit? Because we're not a political podcast. It's very clear, I think, where we stand on civil rights issues and human interest stories and things like that. And I don't mean to, because I don't want to uninclude any of our listeners out there who may be a part of this party. But it's so interesting to me that these particular members of the Republican Party, a party which apparently is supposed to stand for less government oversight and less government involvement in day-to-day things like this, are getting so involved. And so it's like, are you even a Republican anymore? Or it sounds like you're just a bad person now.
No, it absolutely does. And it's just, I mean, there's no reason, right, behind any of this stuff. Like if anything, it's just going to cost the state of Florida more money. And so there's no reason, there's no benefit that they have from doing any of this. It's simply just to be an a-hole. Like
right. It's retaliation.
That's all it is.
Someone stood up to them. Yeah,
right.
It's really horrific.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So I guess the message behind all of this is like, this is why we vote, everybody, right?
Yep.
Like your voice absolutely matters. Stay loud, stay angry. Don't let them get away with this. At least don't let them get away with it without them being forced to hear your voice on it, right?
Yes, correct.
Correct. So we started with this news story because we didn't want to end with this news story because it's a bit of a bummer. So with that, Kale, I'm hoping you can bring us out of this into some light.
Hey, you there. Yes, you. Stop crying in the mirror due to your decisions and get ready for the greatest thing to hit grocery stores since whole bread. Disney Parks' iconic Dole Whip treat will soon hit stores nationwide. Dole Whip was first introduced in the Disney Parks in 1986 when Patrick Kozicki was just a wee lad wearing a child's extra small entering college. She's a legend, she's an icon, and she's coming to stores in 3 varieties of flavors: strawberry, mango, and normal. The launcher of grocery store Dole Whip will be the first of a larger rollout of 10 iconic park treats expected to hit stores this year. I am Dole Whipping up excitement in my boots. Thank you, Katrina.
Wow. Interestingly, that was the most cohesive news story you've ever done.
It was straight facts, even though it was it was
I
fact,
folled it.
Fact.
I understood. Yeah, I understood what was happening.
See, I took all your notes. I applied them.
The pages and pages of notes that I have for you after every episode.
I know.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on this? Are you excited that Dole Whip's coming to grocery stores? Are you annoyed by it? What's your take on it?
Here's the thing. I can't be annoyed by it because here goes. It has to be my decision to go into the store to buy it. Do you get what I'm saying? Originally, when I did read about it, it was sort of, so let me back up. Dole Whip is my favorite Disney treat. It is the one thing that like I really will like wait in line to get, right? And so I absolutely love it. It's also really, really special to me that you get to go to the park and that's where I get to have it. And that's sort of an exclusive thing. I don't know if I will be buying it at the grocery store just because I relate it to that feeling of walking around Magic Kingdom or walking around Epcot or, you know what I mean?
I do.
I don't know if I would purchase it at a grocery store, but for those people who would, I say, go for it.
Go for it. It's one of those things that I forget. Like Disney doesn't actually own Dole Whip, right? It is the Dole company that owns these treats. So it makes sense that they want to make more money off of it for sure. And I was on the same side of you. I was like, am I annoyed by this or do I not? I don't actually really care about it. Is where I land on it.
Like originally when I saw like the headline, I was like, no, and then I was like, but why? Why am I? Why am I against this? But who are we, Ron DeSantis? I'm just kidding.
Right, yeah. No, only people who go to Disney should experience joy. Like, that's the only... I can't do it anywhere else. But I will say, there is something, like, I don't think this is going to be taking away from the experience.
No,
because
I don't think.
I bet you anything, for things like Mickey premium bars are also now sold in some grocery stores. And I've had them, and they don't taste like they do when you eat them in Disney.
Correct.
Right?
There's
not. Something interesting. Yeah. And you can pop all the pop secret you want. It's going to taste different in a Disney park. So I still think the Dole Whip in a Disney park is the experience itself. It's not necessarily the treat, which is delicious. It's like where you're having the treat is more the experience.
Yes, I will say so according to Disney, right? This is only the first product of like 10 products that they're planning to like launch this like grocery store line of treats into, right?
Interesting.
I'm really, really hoping that there is not a frozen cheeseburger spring roll. That would make me actually angry if I
100%.
I learned that there was not a like a Michelin star chef in the back rolling these spring rolls, right? I would be furious.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. I would be mad because I would then just throw away my Noom app.
I was literally about to mention Noom.
because they are about 45,000 calories each, I think. And worth every bite.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but
So going back to what you just said, so it sounds like Disney is probably co-branding these Dole Whips, then, right? They're marketing them as a Disney treat in the grocery stores.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that it'll probably be from. Sorry, I should have put this in my news story. Sorry, he's giving me notes live on air.
That's right. That's how it happens.
I imagine that there's probably going to be it'll probably be like Disney Parks Treats presents Dole. I think it's actually going to be like a Disney Parks treat line of snacks that comes to grocery stores near you nationwide.
Got you. I bet you anything, if I'm a betting man, they're also going to roll out the crispy treats as well.
I mean, duh. You can get those already at the store. What are you talking about?
You can?
You can get Rice Krispie
Mickey Mouse.
Rice Krispie Treats are Rice Krispie Treats. It's literally fried.
No. We're going to have a fight right here.
It is literal crispy rice and marshmallow. It is but two ingredients.
Different. The Disney ones taste different. When they're shaped like Mickey Mouse, they taste different.
Yeah, they taste like $6.
It occurs to me we've been talking for about 20 minutes about Dole Whips and crispy treats.
So
just the hard-hitting news here on Gaze to the D, everybody.
Patrick, I am so excited.
Why? Why, Kale?
Because today we are joined by special guest John Pelkey, the host and MC for hundreds of sports events at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex at Walt Disney World. His sports and events hosts include, but are not limited to, NFL football, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, college basketball, volleyball, baseball, lacrosse, field hockey, softball, and additionally, he works as an on-camera talent for events broadcast from the complex, interviewing athletes and celebrities. We are talking about runDisney race MC since 2005, John Pelkey.
So exciting. We have had this interview in our pocket for a little bit.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I think I talked about it on one of the episodes prior to this. So at the marathon weekend, my friend Justin and his husband and I happened to run into John and his lovely wife Jody at Toledo in the Coronado Springs Resort. We just happened to run into each other. We were both having dinner there, and we got to chatting, and I may or may not have asked him if he'd be interested in coming on the podcast, and he was like, yeah, absolutely. He is, as you'll hear in our interview, he's so cool. He's just one of the coolest guys you want to know.
Person. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just ran through a little bit of his resume, but he's an actor. He was a musical theater performer. You're going to hear in the interview, this guy has an amazing story and a history to tell, and it's so inspiring and so fun.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a great time. We had a great time talking to him, and we hope that you have a great time hearing from him.
And so, enjoy John Pelkey.
It is mine and Kale's privilege and honor. We're so excited to introduce the John Pelkey to Gaze to the D. Welcome to the show, John.
Welcome, John.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm so looking forward to this.
Oh, we believe we have been excited about this since the moment that I randomly ran into you with my friend Justin at the top of the Coronado Tower. Right. We were about to have dinner, and I was like, I got to get him on the show. This is too exciting. He's such an icon in the runDisney community.
Yes.
So really and truly, it's our pleasure to have you.
For those of you listening who might wonder, icon is another word for old. That means I've been around a long time. I'm old.
No, but truly though, Patrick and I have actually been fanboying about this all week long. So this is truly a treat.
Well, thank you. I'm just a guy who gets up way too early with far too little sleep and tries to be entertaining in the end.
Same. I think we're all the same.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. We could do hours on trying to navigate the sleep thing throughout the weekends. I'm still 18 years in, I think, and I still give myself like a solid B- on how I do it. But I was at a D- for a long time, believe me.
Just small steps forward,
right.
just like a Run Disney event. Well, before we get into the bulk of our interview, John, we just want to do a quick check-in. How are you doing, John? What's going on?
I'm doing very, very well. I during the Run Disney season, it's really kind of nice for me because I have those big ticket events, and I have a couple other events that I do. But I also have a little bit of downtime that I can get stuff done around my house, and we can rearrange the dirt in our front yard since we can't grow grass at this point in Central Florida. It's a great time for me. I can't really. There's nothing I could complain about. Why would I?
See, that's a great
hear it.
mindset to have. If someone asks me, what do you have to complain about? I have a list in my wallet at all times.
I've been reading a lot of the philosopher Seneca, and this is actually true. This is not just to try to make me sound deep, but it popped up on a podcast. And there are a lot of things about just sort of one of and I'm going to misquote him, but one of the great quotes is about one of the things that holds people back is simply expectations. Having expectations that if this expectation doesn't come true, oh my gosh, as opposed to just, why don't you just live each day and try to be the best you that you can be. And I also come from a theater background, and there is a great quote, performing background from the Prairie Home Companion, where they talk about, in radio, we don't look backwards. So I try not to do that either. So if you're going to ask me about any of the other Run Disney events I've done, I don't remember any of them. I have no memory of having done anything.
Well, great. We have no questions in for you, John.
Excellent.
This has been
Yeah, John, this is, seriously, you are the gift that keeps on giving. Your life. What's that one quote though? It's expectations are just pre-anticipated resentments.
Yeah,
Isn't that the thing they say?
Absolutely. And it's only taken me 58 years to figure that out. So, slow learner.
Every single day, it's a journey.
The arc of my intelligence inexorably points towards me getting smarter. It just doesn't point there very quickly, sadly.
Oh, it's apropos for a Run Disney discussion then. We'll get there, but maybe not as quickly as we want to.
Right.
Fair enough.
Right.
Oh, good times. Well, so something we like to do with all of our guests when we have them on is sort of get their Disney history lesson, their Diz-tory lesson, if you will. So we just kind of want to know what role, since we are a Disney podcast after all, what role Disney has played in your life leading up to your experience with Run Disney.
Sure. Well, as a kid, I'm that age. I mentioned I'm 58, so I'm of the Disney's Wonderful World of Color television show era. Everybody has their era. Because when I was a kid, the classic movies, the Snow Whites and the Cinderellas and stuff of the world, you get them in re-release about every 4 years. So really my consistent exposure was that Wonderful World of Disney. And I, of course, like everybody of that era, gravitated towards all things Disney. And I got to come to the Magic Kingdom, which was the only park in 1976. And then I came back in 1985 after my dad had retired and my parents moved to Florida, grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. And I came down to find an apartment in Gainesville, Florida, decided I was going to transfer schools and go to school in Gainesville. And I had a buddy come down with me. And the last day I demanded that we drive from Gainesville to Orlando. And so I could spend like 4 hours at the Magic Kingdom. So I was really, your normal Disney fan, normal 60s, 70s, 80s kid Disney fan. And then I started dating a girl in college, ironically, who lived in Orlando. She'd graduated, and I was older when I transferred to UF. I was 21. She had just graduated, and she worked in Epcot guest relations. So I would come and see her probably 2 weekends a month, and she would get me into the parks, and I would hang out until she got off of work. And that was such a great experience. And truthfully, seeing Renaissance Street Theater is what it was called at the time. It became the UK show and the Italy show, street theater shows at Epcot. Saw that in the early 80s and thought, mid-80s, 86, 87, and thought, wow, that's something I would like to do. And in 1988, I got involved in theater again, which I had been involved in the DC area, and I'd gotten away from, and ended up then auditioning for the artist formerly known as Disney's MGM Studios, and they would never cast me. And I will, if we could just have the names of the casting directors scroll right now so that people can find them. But I ended up getting hired at Universal 33 years ago this month, and that's kind of where I ended up at Universal as a consolation prize, but that's been a great job as well. Still work at the same show that I started 33 years ago. So my career stalled.
Okay.
Are you able to reveal what show you're a part of right now?
Sure,
Or
yeah. Yeah, the horror makeup show.
Oh, of course it is.
Okay.
It's where I met my wife, who did it as well. And I was away for a while, but I've come back over the last several years. And so do it every now and again. In touch with my roots.
Nice. Yeah, that feels like a perfect show for you. Like, I don't know you very well, but I feel like the energy that you give off is very that show.
Well, ironically, I did audition a lot. I auditioned 5 or 6 times for Disney, and I got close, and I could never get. I was trying to get Superstar Television, or for anybody who's like Disney Historian, Monster Sound Show. Mm-hmm. And I never could. I never could get hired by them. And Universal, I auditioned a number of times. Ghostbusters, Earthquake, and I finally got hired for the horror makeup show, but in a non-speaking role as the gorilla. Which I wore a state-of-the-art designed by Academy Award winner V. Neal, and based on Rick Baker's gorilla costumes from the movie Gorillas in the Mist. So it was this incredible suit that made me look like a silverback gorilla, and I would just run out on the stage. And I had a couple of backstage duties as well. But that was my first non-college children's theater professional production that I did anywhere, was the Gorilla at the Horror Makeup Show. And then I eventually ended up hosting.
Awesome.
And doing,
I think that's amazing. Yeah,
that is amazing.
What a cool story.
Yep, yeah, and then I just happened to, because I was there all the time during when I started. I was there at all the rehearsals, and they didn't have a host for horror makeup at that point. A guy came in about 10 days after we started, and so I kind of stood in as the host from time to time. And then I spent 9 months, 8 months maybe, doing the show, not hosting. And one night they needed a host, or the show was going to go down, and I hadn't really rehearsed it, but I stepped in, and that's kind of how I started. They started seeing me as a speaking role.
Who knew?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Who knew someone that went to college with musical theater might look good on stage?
Yep. Yeah. So it was but at that point in 1990, I was going to be anything to get here to Orlando to work at one of the theme parks, because I'd finally decided. And I was actually an English major in college, and I think I had finally disabused myself of the fact that I wanted to be a teacher, and who I have nothing but respect for. Hail teachers, but it just, I don't think it was going to fit my personality. And when I got back into theater and performing in Gainesville, I knew that was sort of what I wanted to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
There's no plan, guys. There's no plan. Just sort of things happen. Things happen. The story about how I got back into theater, which is really relevant for this podcast, is more amazing than is the ridiculous story. And for me, who's not a particularly spiritual guy, boy, sometimes the universe sort of gives you clues, and you have to follow them. Because there was no chance I was doing theater again when I moved to Florida in 1985, and by 1988, 89, I did 7 shows in 18 months, and then got down here. Yeah.
That's amazing.
When it's there, right? When you feel it, like, you can just tell. You're like, I'm in the right spot. This is where I'm supposed to be. And let me run with it.
Yeah. Everything happens for a reason. I'm not sure I necessarily believe that, but what I do believe is that if you follow some of the clues that you're given, they're there for you. If you're able to just go, for me, for a long time, I wasn't able to say, wow, I'd like to be a performer, because it's not really a terribly realistic goal at times. And I was 24 years old and still in college and working full time. And it's like, well, I can't go to someone now and go, really, I want to be an actor. That wouldn't have, it just allowing myself to say that was something I couldn't do for a long time. And then the universe punched me in the face, and I went, oh, okay, well, this sort of says I should do it. And the shortened version of the story is, there's a show that changed my life when I was a kid, and I said I would get back in theater again if anybody ever did this show, knowing it was a show that no one would ever do for a number of reasons. And then a theater in Gainesville did it, and so I did audition, got the lead, and that was it. So
what is the show?
Yeah, you got to tell us what the show is, John. Don't bury the lead.
It's 1776. I actually have a 1776 tattoo. as a matter of fact. But all right, so short story. You can edit this out, I'm sure.
No, we're keeping everything.
My dad was an electrician at the White House for 27 years. Grew up outside of D.C. And in addition to electrical stuff, he did entertainment lighting for the entertainment that would come in for state dinners and the like.
Sure.
And so
This is incredible.
the first music that I was ever exposed to was show tunes, singer Sinatra, also Tony Bennett, because they would come, that was the entertainment in the late 60s, 70s when I was a kid. Wow. And so my parents would bring those home, and that first music you ever listened to is the music your parents listened to. So it was that and big band. And my dad would get signed albums from these artists. Glenn Campbell album that's signed, or a Robert Goulet. And no, I don't have any of them anymore, sadly. But so I would listen to that. And he brought, I was, I think, 6 or 7 years old. He brought the album for 1776 home. And I remember like it was yesterday. I looked at the cover and I thought, well, this is something that I have to listen to. This cover is so neat. And it is my tattoo now, the eagle coming out of the shell. And I remember my parents were like, "When do you have to go to bed? You can't listen to this tonight." And I'm just laying in bed with the anticipation of listening to this album. And I got up the next day and I listened to it. And and people don't believe this, but for the next 16 or 17 years, there wasn't a month that went by that I didn't listen to it all the way through, at least once. And
that's amazing.
So never really had a chance to do it. Did theater until I was, 20 or 21. And when I transferred to UF, I just said, I just want to be a college student now. I kind of have to get on with my life. And I was a little over theater. Started randomly working at a store that was partially owned by a woman who'd been a dance major at Georgia and loved theater. And she was her family had been in Gainesville for a long time. They were patrons of the arts. And she was always talking to people about arts things. Found out I had a theater background and said, "Boy, you should really they do a lot of stuff around here." And I'd seen shows, obviously. And so finally I said to her, the only way I would ever do another show is if someone did 1776. And it's a show, I think, with 24 men and 2 women. So no one ever does it, or at least in 1988, no one was doing it. And the Gainesville Community Playhouse, a couple of weeks later, she came to me with their 88, 89 season, and it was the fall musical. And at that point, I kind of committed to it. But I did. I auditioned, got John Adams. And then from there, it was like I said, it was one theatrical thing after another. So I always say that show changed my life twice.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And then I know someone who was in the cast, the all-women's cast that sadly I think just closed on Broadway, but is on tour right now. One of our fellow Disney performers here, Lulu Picard, very incredibly talented, was in that cast. And she's on tour now with it. So, yeah, that show all sort of pops up for me every now and again in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Well, forget runDisney. We're talking about this for the rest of the... No, I'm just kidding. But
right. I could, so but yeah. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. But it's people are always surprised by that. And when they, ask how you get involved in this sort of things, it's like, well, I'm a performer. And most performers, and I'm sure you guys know this, if you start out in community theater or theater in school, and you do a lot of musicals. So that's, because that's what dinner theater, people want to go see musicals, or at least they did in, my day. And so if you are a performer of any note, you've probably done musicals at some point in time. And people are always surprised by that. I still do one every now and again. And my favorite thing to do is to sing on stage.
Well, there's nothing like it, right? It just sort of like brings in all elements of performing into one show.
Yeah.
So it's all there for you.
Yeah, and I like music. I played bass in a blues band as well for a while, just on the side. So I've always been a music guy. But yeah, musicals, that's the art form that always moved me the most.
So you don't sleep ever, not just during runDisney season. You're stretched pretty thin all the time, it sounds like.
Yeah, I can be. Sadly, I wish I could do more theater, but the sad reality of theater is it's very difficult to make a lot of money doing theater, or even decent money, or livable money doing theater. So I envy the people around here who can do a lot, but you have to take the paying gigs, because I do have a house and a car and all those things I have to pay for. And scheduling wise, I don't get to do things too often, but I did Be More Chill several months ago, and I did a fabulous production of Ragtime here in Winter Garden in 2019. So every now and then I get to plug in, and I was supposed to be a part of a production of Urinetown, until 2020, but everything shut down 10 days before we opened.
Right.
So,
oh man.
So I still think I can put it on my resume because I did rehearse the whole damn thing, and I was off book.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will get into Run Disney, but I have to tell you, Ragtime is my absolute favorite musical of all time. So I'm jealous that you got to do it.
It's wonderful, and I knew it a little bit, and I'd read the book actually, and of course I'd seen the movie, but I only knew the musical because Encore Disney did a production of it at Dr. Phillips Center a number of years ago, and they raised a lot of money for charity. They raised money for my wife's pet rescue at one point in time to try to support them. And they did a pseudo concert version. There was a little bit of blocking of it. And I remember loving the music, and I loved they wrote Once on This Island too, which is the best show I've ever seen on Broadway. So I loved the music, but I didn't really know the show. So getting to do it was really, really special. And playing Grandpa was a little bit of a pain to my ego.
Right.
But Grandpa and Henry Ford, great experience. One of the best theater experiences of my life. That'd be, if I got another tattoo, it would be the Ragtime tattoo, because that was a big one for me.
Yeah, I played Jack in Into the Woods in high school, and Patrick can tell you I make it Into the Woods reference every time that there's some type of any mention to musical theater on the show. But it occurred to me, I actually went and saw the revival on Broadway a couple months back, and it occurred to me then that I'm no longer in the running for Jack. That I'm clearly like the baker all the way. It was devastating.
Well, listen, I'm still angry I can't play the Artful Dodger in Oliver. I mean, I honestly, and I'm 42 years too old for that, but it still bothers me. No, and I've passed the baker now. I'm the mysterious man. That's it now for me. That's it. I've got, yes, I'm aging out of all great musicals.
Yeah, that just means you and I get to do a duet, right?
Yeah, there it is.
Mysterious Man.
There it is. Musical Mondays. So when you come into town, we'll go to Musical Mondays at Renaissance Theater, and we'll do No More.
It's happening.
John, you are gambling, inviting us to these things.
It's on record now. It's on record.
You can speak, sing. Listen, you can speak, sing The Mysterious Man. So I don't even need to warm up for that one at this point.
Right. So you have obviously you're very interested in musical theater, but clearly you have an interest and passion for sports. Tell us how you got involved with hosting and announcing for sports events.
I've always been a sports guy. I said I grew up in Washington and D.C., right outside of D.C., Springfield, Virginia, and it's a big football area, basketball area. So I played sports in high school, played football, ran track, and just had always been interested in sports. And I was also interested in sports broadcasting, kind of peripherally. There were a lot of things that I liked that I really didn't explore completely, but that was something that I was interested in. And when they opened the ESPN Club at Disney's Boardwalk, I auditioned for the original job, and it was of a sports host, which was kind of a hybrid live, sort of what we do now. Still, it's a live sports host and interviewer. We did have things we did on camera, and I got hired as the sub to Mark Ferreira, a guy named Mark Ferreira, who is our director for Run Disney Entertainment on stage and my best friend, and another guy named Dave Azer, who did Slime Time Live on Nickelodeon, if any of you are fans of that all those years ago.
Yes.
And I never worked. Those two never took a day off for like 2 years. So I fell out of the rotation because I just there was no work over there. And then Dave left to do Slime Time Live, and I had to re-audition and came in. Got the job at the ESPN Club, and basically ended up sports announcing at Wide World of Sports because there weren't other sports people on property.
Right.
They were bringing in other DEG hosts and things to do that, but they really didn't have any sort of sports shorthand. And I had that, Mark had that, and then Riley also worked with us there. And I go back with Riley to the Horror Makeup Show. That's where we met 30 years ago.
Oh, funny.
So we were just the people who had that skill set. We were performers. We could speak on a microphone or in front of a camera, and we had sports knowledge. And you don't, when you are 97% musical theater performers as your talent cast, the sports people are fewer and farther between than you may think. So we were the guys who could do it, and just sort of fell into it and did whatever they would have over at the sports complex, be it an opening ceremony for an AAU event. I was public address announcer for minor league baseball when they used to have minor league baseball there, and just sort of fell into the right place at the right time with the applicable skill set.
That's amazing. So cut to then, right? 2005, I believe,
Yes.
right, is when I believe you started RunDisney with, was Carissa involved right from the get-go?
She
with
was.
you
She
at that
was.
time? Okay.
She was.
So how did that all come to be?
Again, right place at the right time. There was a director at Disney, Alan Brune, who, ironically, his wife hired me at Universal in March of 1990. She was in entertainment at Universal, and he directed things. He actually founded a theater here, but he was a Disney director as well, and did things in and around town. So I did a show called Run for Your Wife with him at what was formerly the Civic Theater of Central Florida, and is now the Rep. And I knew Alan fairly well, socially and professionally. And I, to this day, do not remember where we were, if I just ran into him on the street or at a Disney event. And he said to me, he goes, "Hey, you sports, do you have any interest in like announcing the marathon?" This is all pre-run. There was no RunDisney at the time. It's just the marathon. And it was, it was like 2 8-hour days at overtime. And honestly, I'm like, well, yeah, of course I would like to do that.
Right.
And I did it. Carissa did it that first year. She was working at the sports complex as well for like baseball. She was the person in the crowd, would do trivia, and we would do that for opening ceremonies and that. A lot of essentially the same thing we do for RunDisney. And so Alan brought us on, and that was his only year as the director. And the director that followed him, Carrie, just kept us on. And he was another guy from Wide World of Sports. So they knew us. They knew we had, and Carissa was an athlete as well. Not as well as me, but as well as the other people running.
Right.
But I don't want to say, that's my brand is that I'm not an athlete. And we just ended up staying. And then when RunDisney was formed, they actually took Carissa out to California, and then they brought one of the California announcers here to do the race. But they kept me on board as well. And eventually I became full-time RunDisney along with Carissa and Rudy Novotny, who was the other announcer at the time. And it's just grown from there. So it just right place at the right time. And I knew the guy who was the director. That's it. And again, there were like 6 of us who knew sports. So it was going to be one of the 6 of us or 2 of the 6 of us that were going to host it.
Fair. Man, this is a theme in your life. I'm sure you already know this, but like just you being like open and receptive and staying true to who you are has done very well for you, it sounds like.
Sadly, and as my wife would tell you, that comes at the expense of the thing is that I really never had a plan for what is it that you want to do. I had a lot of things that I enjoyed doing and exploring, and I was open for that. And while I don't think I was ever great at any of them, I was able to navigate them fairly quickly. And so it was a good job, and I stayed with a good job. I'm the son of Depression-era parents. You take the jobs that are offered you, and you do the best you can. But not having a plan, I think, really helped me out because my resume is an inch deep and a mile wide. I've done some things that I can't believe that I've done that are completely out of the purview of announcing and acting. But it was just, they're all part and parcel of the same thing, is that I enjoy performing. And to your point, and I appreciate that I am very open for whatever you throw my way. And in fact, now one of the great things about not doing a show 5 days a week or having a full-time contract is I do a lot of different things. And that's really, as a theater actor, which is what I would consider myself, that's home. It's doing projects. You do this, it's a closed end project, as opposed to doing, episodic. I did the horror makeup show for 10 years, 40 shows a week. I'm glad I'm not doing that any longer, because I think that's for younger people, frankly. And it's just the thing that's kept me, the reason I've been able to do it for 33 years, frankly, is that I've done so many different things, from writing to directing so it's, I'm pretty much open for anything except dancing.
I love that.
Because you do not want me
I love that.
If you're a chorus member, you want me in the chorus because they're going to scale down choreography for me.
Right. So you mean when we do our duet of No More, I can't add a little bit of soft shoe?
Oh, you can, and I will point at you, and I will golf clap in your general direction, but I will not join you in the choreography.
That's amazing.
Right.
Well, you're in good company here, John. I feel like all there are 4 hosts here on Days of the D, and we all like have a million things going on all the time, and we're always just grateful to be doing anything at all, like including this podcast, doing shows, doing whatever comes our way, and just saying yes to whatever feels right. It's a good way to live, I feel like.
So I also am very grateful for the small times where I'm doing nothing at all.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, that's the great thing about now being a gig worker, as is that I have long down times where I can just relax and
just breathe.
But I remember scuffling in my 20s when I first got here, and it was just take everything that people would offer you, whether you thought you could do it or not. And just, it's that old actor's adage, if they ask you if you can ride a horse, say yes and figure out how to ride a horse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you juggle fire? And you're like, can I juggle fire?
Are you kidding me? Oil fire or grease fire? You tell me.
So I know that Patrick has done a significant more amount of runDisney races than I have, but I know that he and I both have our routines for getting ready as runners. Give us a breakdown of your runDisney routine. What do mornings and days look like for you during a race event?
Sure. We joked earlier that I don't do a great job, but it has become a routine because for years I would have to drive in. So it was like get up at midnight and drive in because the way it works now is our call time is generally 1:30 in the morning. That's when they pick us up at the hotel. We stay at one of the Disney resorts for the event, which is really nice. Makes it easier, and also they don't have to chase us down in case we're missing. They know where to find us. They can bang on your hotel door. So normally we're picked up at 1:30. So frankly, what a normal day for me is, I generally try to be in bed by about 7 or 7:30 and get whatever sleep I can. And I'm pretty, I can sleep fairly easily. Though there are nights when I say on stage that I haven't gotten any sleep. There are those nights where I don't sleep at all.
Oh, I'm sure.
But they pick us up at 1:30, and then we generally go, have a sound check rehearsal on the pre-show stage. It's more sound check and to check the cameras and whatever video support we may be running. And then we do the same thing on the main stage. And then we wait until it's time for the pre-show. So we basically just sit around the trailer and try to make each other laugh. And we're punchy and tired. And then there's also, you can imagine with any of these things, a lot of the things we do are fluid. We have a script, an outline script that we go through, but things change fairly frequently. You could have a scheduled speaker for one of our charities, and they can change the speaker up, sort of thing. So, they're letting us know what's going on, and just trying to gird ourselves for the couple of hours where we have to really consistently work from when we first go out to when the final wave leaves. And Chris and I most frequently are the ones who send the waves. So it's just about making sure all of our ducks are in a row and we're prepared to get through that essential 2-hour period and get everybody. The main thing is to get the race off on time. So that's it. It's pretty it's pretty nebulous. We've done it for a long time now. Mark, our director, has been there for quite some time. And again, he's my best friend and my comedy partner. We do shows on the Disney Vacation Club cruises as well, hosting shows. But he keeps us relatively well informed about what's going on. But it's mainly just making sure that everybody's ducks are in a row that morning. The techs who put the stages together, and they get no. I joke about not getting any sleep, but I can go back to a hotel 10 o'clock in the morning and sleep until 1 o'clock in the morning if I want to. Those folks are working hard all the time. So we're mainly trying to support them so they finally get people on stage with microphones and cameras to see how things work, because it is a huge undertaking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's clear and it's remarkable how seamless you all make it look. Like,
it's true.
It's a machine what you guys are doing. It's great.
Yeah, it's hard. It's funny because we hear that, and I even hear it from Mark. But from on stage, it is a bit of a whirlwind when you're out there. again, because you have technical, as you know, you're outside shooting with wireless cameras, anything can happen. And I don't know if you know this about Central Florida, but the weather can be an issue. Yeah, exactly. So, for those of us, the folks out in the corrals, they have their challenges, and I do some of that as well. But Riley is the best at that. Tracy does a great job. Good. Carolina. And but on stage, it's a lot for Carissa and I, who generally is. It's a lot about traffic, what we call traffic copying the show, making sure the bits come down at the right time, that know where we are with the Track Shack folks who are actually running the actual race. Because if people aren't aware of this, we can't keep the roads and the parks shut down past their opening times. So getting the race off on time is the most important thing, because we want to give everybody the opportunity. Nobody wants to get swept. Nobody wants to see those balloon ladies pass them. So we want to try to get everybody off on time as best as we can. And we're pretty good at it. I did start the race early once. Now it's my biggest. So I'll bury the lead of what's the biggest screw up you ever did. Started the race early, and I heard about that.
By how early did it start?
Yes.
Significantly?
About a minute. About a minute or so.
Well, okay.
But when I say we try to do it right on time, we try to do it right on time. But
fair. Fair.
I think it was just the pyro people who were like, "We're not ready to shoot off the pyro yet," and I'm like, "We're out there now. We're going to start it." Mickey said, "Go, guys, we're going. We're going."
Just blame it on the mouse. Absolutely.
Always.
That's amazing, though.
Oh man. Well, I have to say you're underselling yourself. I don't mean to like boost you up, but I'm going to. You're underselling yourself when you say you're pretty good at it. You're amazing at it. It's fantastic. So,
I have to echo Patrick. Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. And like I said, we got a lot of people working hard, and we've all done it for a while now. So it really does run a lot more smoothly than back in pre-Run Disney days. It was really just sort of meatball theater sort of stuff, throwing stuff together. But by God, we got people out there, and it was obviously popular enough to form Run Disney around it. So, but it's grown well beyond any of our expectations at this point.
Yeah, it's incredible. So you've hosted many different events beyond even Run Disney. So what for you makes a Run Disney experience sort of different, or elevates it, or maybe it doesn't, who knows, but than other events that you've run before?
Well, it's funny, because I think the thing that's the most different about it, and this is with any race, is you have all these people with a common goal, and most of the things that you host, opening ceremonies for things, or anyway, I've just done so many things. It's usually there's not sort of a collective feel about it, that we're all in this together. A lot of times when you're hosting an event, trying to get people's attention, you have speakers that they may or may not be interested in. But I think when you see a Run Disney event, that not everybody's paying attention to the videos that we have for our like celebratory charities. Celebratory. Oh God, that word. I'll screw that one up. Celebratory charities. Good Lord.
There we go.
And it's not 2:00 in the morning. But it's just there's a feel about it that we are all in this together, and I don't think you always feel that when you're hosting something else. It kind of feels like we are doing this for you, and for a Run Disney event particularly, and I do other races around the country, but Run Disney event particularly, we're in this together, because at other events people don't put 4,700 hours into their costume, which is also just
right.
You would go host another race, and there's some level of disappointment. And if you see one guy in a tutu, you're like, "Thank you for making me feel like this is an actual race."
Right. Yeah, I have to agree with you. There is a weird, even though you're there, you're queuing up with strangers. There is a sense of like, we're all in this together, teamwork. Even though you're really just trying to finish and not.
And
none
of it's easy.
Yourself.
And that's the thing with none of it's easy. It's always funny. One of my events that I always do, I do the St. Pete Run Fest, which is really a great event in November. It's generally the week after Wine and Dine. But I always forget that, we didn't all roll out of bed at 1:00 in the morning at St. Pete Run Fest. The runners didn't walk 2 miles before they got to the start in St. Pete Run Fest. They didn't have to navigate the things that you do because of the size of this event. And I can only imagine the same, in New York Marathon and stuff. Things of that size, everything people have to navigate to get there. And when I say, well, and when we have to navigate having no sleep, getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning, if we got any sleep, fighting through any technical issues we may have or last minute changes, everybody's got those challenges in the morning of a Run Disney race. Nobody was helicoptered in and dropped off in Corral A. Everybody worked to get here. So it does feel a lot more like we're all in this together. And why in the hell are we not in bed? That's the other reason. Why in the hell are we not in bed?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So do you have a favorite Run Disney theme? Princess Run, Marathon Weekend, Star Wars Weekend, etc.?
Look, I turned 13 the year Star Wars came out, so that's how I always answer that. Any sort of Star Warsy thing is always exciting for me. All of the races have a different feel to them. I don't know that I necessarily ever had a favorite. Princess, it always feels different because you've just done marathon. It seems like it honestly seems like why did I even check out of the hotel? I just stay here for and for some reason, Princess always feels like we're warmed up, and it's the weekend that goes the most quickly because we're just so used to it. It's not reinventing the wheel when you've been off for 2.5 months, or in the case of the fall race, Wine and Dine, 6 months you haven't been doing it. So I think Princess always seems like the one where we kind of feel like we're firing on all cylinders. But as far as theming, come on, you see 50 stormtroopers chasing a Leia with Han behind them, and it's come on, people who've made Millennium Falcon costumes why you would ever make a costume where you have to hold anything with your hands while you're running. I take my hat off to you. I don't get that because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
No.
But, so Star Wars just will always hold for, it'll always be the 12 or 13-year-old kid in me.
Yeah, I hope they bring it back. It's a great run. Yeah, for sure.
It's above my pay grade. I don't know what happens. They don't tell us. So
right.
We don't know anything.
So do you have a favorite costume that you've ever worn for an event?
Yeah, the kilt.
Yeah.
The two things are my favorite. The kilt that I wore, which was also the race where Carissa's husband Weston asked her to marry him at the end of the 10K. At the finish line of the 10K, and that had all been set up. She didn't know. So that's favored for those two reasons. I loved wearing the kilt, and I always point out kilt finishers at the finish. And if you were wearing a black watch plaid kilt at the finish line, I'm going to say something. To you because you're one of my favorites.
Nice.
And then I wore a full-on onesie furry pig suit for Princess. And it's a character. It's a Moana character, maybe. I'm really bad at this, at anything post Aristocats.
Pua. It's Pua, I believe. From
Pua.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. That's it. And everybody was like, "Oh my god, that's going to be so hot." And you know what? It was a little warm, but if how can a zip-up fur onesie not be your favorite costume?
Sure.
It was so easy to put on, too, because a lot of times you're like the Mandalorian and it's got like 50 pieces on the costume. And, and it was like everybody's getting ready in the trailer. They're getting into their costumes and they're like, John, their call's in like 10. Do you want to get around? I'm good. And at about the 3-minute call, jumped into my onesie and went out. So, yes. I did tell them a costuming, as many onesies as possible would be really good for me.
So do you get to sort of pick the costumes, or do they say, here's what we're thinking, yes or no?
Oh gosh, they say this is what you're wearing. Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they say this is what you're wearing. Yes. No, we don't have any. I don't know until the costume fitting, which is the day before the 5K. We have script reading and costume fitting. I don't know what I'm wearing. Though my wife knew about the onesie because she was doing an event and was at costuming, measuring for a costume. And the costumer's like, want to see what your husband has to wear? So she knew going into that. But we have no control over that at all.
Oh, that's funny. It's good to know. Good, a little behind the scenes.
Yep.
Awesome. So I feel like I may know the answer to this, but I'll obviously let you answer. What would you say? You've been doing it for 15, 16 years now. And, beyond the fact that it's a steady job, obviously, what keeps you coming back to Run Disney year after year? Like, how are you keeping it fresh? What's the magic for you in it?
It's just, really, it's the people. And I've met so many great people who have been running the race. And then the people that I work with, I love the people that I work with. And I have history with all of them in a lot. Chris and I have worked together in so many different venues. I met Riley in 1992 and we started doing the horror makeup show together and did it almost exclusively, he and I, as a partnership for close to a decade. And then Mark, our director, again, is my comedy partner for other things that I do and has been one of my best friends. Both Riley and Mark are in my wedding. And Tracy and I are in an improv group, sketch comedy improv group here in Central Florida. And they're my friends. And Carolina is just such a wonderful person. And thank God we have somebody who can speak Portuguese on for Marathon Weekend.
Yes, absolutely.
So and of course, many of the techs are old friends of ours. And now, again, try not to be nostalgic, but now we just have all these stories of races past. So race mornings get to be about, hey, remember when Miss America forgot the lyrics to the national anthem? Remember that race? And so it's really just, it can happen. It's a tough song to sing.
Right.
I'm always so nervous. Anytime someone sings the national anthem, I'm like, oh, please get through it.
Oh, I know.
Right.
I know. We love it. We are too. We love it when they bring in like a sax player and it's like, well, he can Sonny Rollins his way around the melody if he forgets it.
Right.
But if you don't, if you mess up the words and you're Enrico Palazzo from The Naked Gun, bunch of bombs in the air. But yeah, poor.
Right.
Great reference.
Thank you.
Right, it is.
Well, at least once during every race, either Riley or I, it's Enrico Palazzo because,
man.
But yes, we did have one of our poor, I think it was Miss America, Miss USA, and she had lovely singing voice. And she got back on track. But, I always tell people, you talk on or sing on microphone long enough, you are going to say or do some stupid stuff.
It's true.
I'm sure. I have to say, this is. I'm so glad that this was your answer because you all. I mean, it's clear that you're all a family on stage, and you just bring that energy and that companionship. It's so great to hear. My friend Nick, when I told him that we were going to have you on the show, he just said, my one question is, are they really friends? I really hope they are because they seem like it.
People ask that. Yes, we are. My wife and I are a friend, Carissa and Weston. We get together for dinner and hang out. Again, Riley's one of my oldest and dearest friends and best friends. And again, I've known Tracy forever. And again, Carolina is newer to the fold, but she's just such a great personality and really it helps us because Tracy speaks Spanish as well. And for many, many years, that was a little bit of a challenge for us because, I took French in college and apparently not a lot of French-speaking people showing up to run because I never have once had to use it, sadly, because I'm angling for that race in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I speak French. Every weekend, I speak a little bit of French on stage, and it's always the same thing because I really only know one thing, a poem in French. But I do it just because I'm hoping that the people from Paris are like, oh, mon Dieu, we must have him. Right. But it's never happened. So what are you going to do?
We'll start a letter writing campaign for you.
Please.
Yeah, I also took French in college, so the next time you do it, I will shout back. And then
I had a French forensic contest in high school, and it's a poem by Arthur Rimbaud, and literally it's all I can remember, like the first 4 lines of it. But I try to drop it in every now and then, and I did it first when somebody said, "Hey, the folks from Euro Disney or whatever the heck they call it now, Disneyland Paris, are here," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I gotta drop my French in here. Here we go. They need a race host. No, nothing. They won't even take me to Disneyland, let alone Paris."
Right. All right. Well, listeners out there, you have a mission. We're going to get John to Paris. So we got you, John. We got you.
I've only been to Paris once. I need to go back.
Yeah.
So this is a question that's going to give you the opportunity to be an innovator. What weekend themed would you like to see in the future?
Oh, I said it earlier. The Aristocats. If I could dress as Thomas O'Malley, the alley cat. I'd sing the song. That would make me. That was that 101 Dalmatians and the Aristocats are my 2 favorite Disney animated films. from my youth.
Nice.
And the fact that we haven't done the Aristocats yet, I take as a personal affront. And that would be for me. In my era, because that's I go in the live action, the Apple Dumpling Gang stuff. That's my Disney. Those are the albums that I had from Disney movies. I'll even go with the Rescuers if I can be Evinrude, the outboard dragonfly. If I could be Evinrude, that would be key. So something in my Disney childhood era, which they really don't ever pay attention to.
I'm totally with you on this. And wouldn't it be an easy charity to an animal rescue to intertwine with a theme like that?
Good time to drop in my wife's A Better Life Pet Rescue in Winter Garden, Ocoee, Florida. Yeah, my wife runs a not-for-profit pet rescue, actually.
Wow. All right.
But it would be perfect for that. And we have that is as popular a costume as we have across races is Cruella de Vil. You see her as much as you see anyone.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And Dalmatians,
and they're
as
always
well.
great. They're always great. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And it always gives us that we can always do the same joke, and it's greatly appreciated that you can always say, "Why are you running with Cruella de Vil, dogs? What is wrong with you? Why?" Apparently, Dalmatians dumbest dogs in dogdom.
Yeah, it does seem counterintuitive for sure.
Right.
No sense. It's like seeing Darth Vader and Leia running. Well, at least they're related, for God's sake.
Right.
You can make the correlation.
Yeah. So Thomas O'Malley, the Alley Cat, Evinrude, the outboard dragonfly. If I can do those two, I can retire a happy man.
I love it. All right. We have two missions now.
Yeah.
All right. So get you to Paris and then the Aristocats.
Right.
We're on it. Which they both go hand in hand too. Anyways, Paris and the Aristocats. So there you go.
Absolutely. I can't remember what's the name of the Zsa Zsa Gabor, or is it Ava Gabor who played the female dog in that? She's got a Parisian accent. It just works. It works.
Yes.
Dress Carissa up as her. Tracy, come on. Bring us all over.
Perfect. It's perfect. Oh gosh. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit here. Everyone has a story of why they're doing Run Disney, from the runners themselves to the people who are working it to the volunteers. I'm sure you've heard a million stories, but can you tell us about one or two maybe that have stuck out for you of just moments of inspiration coming out of a Run Disney event?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is actually a personal one. My friend Jacqueline, who had one of my stage managers, I also worked at the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular for a while. And she was one of my stage managers over there and stage managers around. She'd been somebody who'd always dealt with weight issues her whole life. And she said, in my life, I want to be able to run a half marathon. And she trained for it and everything. And I was able to escort her across the finish line for that. And she was breaking down crying. And look at me. I'm breaking down crying now thinking about it. That was very, very moving. And then there was a woman named Carol Smith who was really the first person who ever reached out to me to say she enjoyed what I did. Rudy had a lot of fans. Carissa had a lot of fans because they did the West Coast stuff. And I'm the comic relief. Though one of my directors once said I was the straw that stirred the drink, and I love that. It's a Reggie Jackson. It's actually a Reggie Jackson. The quote about Reggie Jackson when he was with the Yankees: "The straw that stirs the drink." But she reached out to me, and she just enjoyed my shtick. She enjoyed the whole look. People, I'm the before picture at a gym ad. Look at me, I'm out here. Let's do this. And she was a cancer survivor at the time, and several years after that, her cancer came back, and unfortunately, we lost her in 2020. And her final race, her family pushed her. She could not run any longer, and she was just a really positive influence for all of us. And particularly, I can be as cynical as anybody, if you haven't noticed. But it was hard when she passed away, and I just didn't really know her outside of Disney. But it was kind of devastating for us. But just to see her commitment to when she was going through chemotherapy, and then when she was at the point where she knew she was terminal, she still came out and ran. And then when she couldn't run any longer, her family brought her along, and they still come to races. Team Carol's there every weekend, and I always look for them. So those are two. But you're right, there are countless stories, and one of the sad downsides of being the guy on the stage, the people on the stage at times for Carissa and I, is a lot of times when Riley's getting those stories, we're getting something in our IFB about what we're moving on to. So I don't always get to hear all of those stories, but it is remarkable what people overcome to get out there. Because as I said, I'm amazed that somebody signed up for the race 8 months ago and then woke up on race morning and went, yeah, okay, let's still do it. I mean, if you rolled back over and went to sleep, I'd go, okay, I get it, because it's early, and this is the thing. The people just overcome so much, and I think that is, to answer your previous question as well. That's another reason you just keep coming back, because here I have this cool job, but I get to hear about all of these people. So when I come home and complain because for whatever reason, because my dog ripped up another pillow, it kind of puts things in perspective.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's true. Kale, I imagine you can back me up in this. 100% of why I keep going back to Run Disney is the community of it, the accessibility of it all, the fact that it's for everybody can participate in Run Disney regardless of your background, of your size, of your shape, of your age. It's just Disney does a great job, and you all as hosts do such a wonderful job of everybody here has one goal, and we're all going to help each other do it together.
That's it.
And so it's amazing. It's the most inspirational weekend of my year that I look forward to every year. So thank you for sharing that with us.
And 4 times a year, I'm always just blown away at what people could do, and that we would all work together in other ways. That would be
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
of course. Well, you might have actually just answered our next question, which is, what do you look forward to the most with each Run Disney event?
the stories of what people have done, and then just navigating all of that with people who I'm very, very good friends with, and people that I love.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky. Very lucky.
It's clear in the way that you're talking about it too, how much you enjoy it. And
very
it's
much
surprising to you, but it's not surprising to us of like just the awe in which you speak about it is very present and clear.
Yeah, and and it is early on, we have all the years now of it, and early on it was when a race was coming up, there was a little bit of the trepidation, particularly when I used to have to drive in, about okay, I'm going to be exhausted for these 5 days and 5 days after. And now there's none of that. When the race weekend's coming up, I actually really, really look forward to it. Really look forward to it, and not just because it. My wife looks forward to it because it gets me out of the house for a few days, and so that makes her happy. Not just because I get to stay in a really nice hotel.
Well,
that helps. That helps. There's a giraffe outside my door. I know it's 1 o'clock in the morning, but there's a giraffe right there.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. So those who know you, we're just gonna keep going with maybe the cry fest here.
Oh boy,
do the tea with you. But so those who know you and those who are listening to you now and those who follow you on social media, it's very clear that we recognize you, John, specifically as an advocate and an ally for the LGBTQ community. So first of all, thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Many of whom are listeners and the people who are coming to Run Disney, they're specifically coming because of the sense of community that people like you bring to us and give to us and allow us. So I don't mean to put you on the spot, but here we are. I have you. We have you captive. So I'm going to ask you the question: What message do you have, I guess, or what would you say to anyone who is seeing the news right now? And we all know what's happening in Florida.
Yeah.
It doesn't escape us here on the podcast. To those who might be a little apprehensive, right, to return to a Disney event, what can you say to them to encourage them or to include them in what Disney wants to do? Well,
I mean, I think, the couple things about that, and it is tough to be aligned where I am politically and as in this state right now. I think the thing I would say is that what we have here is a little bit of minority rule. The majority of people do not feel the way our lawmakers may be making you feel.
Correct, yes.
And it is not a small majority. It's a large majority of people don't feel that way. And we certainly at Run Disney, we are committed to being inclusive. We want to hear your story, whatever that story is. We want to hear about whatever your challenges are. And, I've always said this, it is so easy to be negative towards someone at a distance or in a group. But when you actually meet people and talk to them, it's cliche to say we have more in common than we don't, but we do. And I think what I would say is if you are concerned, and I certainly understand your concerns, you will find a safe place at a Run Disney event, without a doubt. And I think the sad thing about that is when we were talking about doing the podcast and mentioned that there'd be a question on this, I thought, gosh, you're and thank you for the nice things you say, because I am a 100% supporter of the LGBTQ community, and it's sad to me that you might have to ask someone a question as to why are you not a supporter of that community, because I can't imagine not realizing that all rights are human rights, and if you are on the wrong side of any human right, then there's no explaining that away. That's on you. And sadly, again, in Florida right now, it's not a great time to be a member of the LGBTQ community, and it's not a great time to be a school teacher. And those are both groups of people that I support 100%. And I wish I could be more eloquent about it, but it's just it infuriates me that it would have to be an issue, that it would concern anyone, because I abhor bullying. As a kid who was a small kid and was bullied, and I just see a lot of what's happening now as bullying.
Right.
And it's that, first of all, are you 14? Certainly, hopefully, we're all a little more emotionally mature, but sadly, we don't see that as often as we would like here.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, and like I said before, we do want to call out our allies, because they are just as important.
Absolutely.
As our listeners who are in the LGBTQ community, we need your allyship, and we trust you, and we welcome you wholly into our family, John.
It always worries me, because the human nature of finding a common enemy does bring people together. I mean, sadly, we can times of war, countries come together, and it was a comedian or something I heard a number of years ago who said, people talk about aliens landing, and it's like, oh, the first thing we do is shoot the alien. I mean, we would clearly do that because it's something that we don't know, and we're afraid of it, and it's a common enemy. And that's just a part of, I guess, our lizard brain, millions of years of evolution. We've never really come out of that that having a common enemy brings people together, and it's kind of sad. We're better off if we have a common cause.
Well
but it's true. You go to war, and all of a sudden, Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, and liberals all waving a flag. Everybody's, here's the bad guy. And I think it's just too easy for people in power to find a scapegoat. That's one of the easiest things to do as a leader, is to find a scapegoat. I'd hoped we'd progressed past that, but the one of my other jobs many years ago is I wrote the audio tour for Mount Rushmore. So if you go to Mount Rushmore and you listen to the audio tour, I'm the voice of the presidents, all four, and I wrote the audio tour.
What?
And one of the things that I put in it and there were some battles back and forth, as you can probably imagine, for people when it is
of course
a monument that there are Native American folks have issues with it. It's a jingoistic, patriotic thing that doesn't always doesn't have the greatest origin story necessarily, but that doesn't make it any less remarkable. If you ever go there, it really is moving. But one of the things that I said was that with Thomas Jefferson, because his head was tilted up, and I can't remember exactly what I wrote, but something about, Jefferson looking higher than the rest of us. But if you look at the man himself, there are a lot of contradictions there, including selling his own children among them. But America's journey is like a lot of things. It's not just a straight line up. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. It moves around. And right now, sadly, in Florida, it kind of feels like we're in a little bit of a downturn. Right. But I am an optimistic man at heart, and I do believe the arc of history does inexorably bend towards justice. It just doesn't do it as quickly as we would like.
That's right. That's right. Well, we'll get there. We have work to do, but we'll get there together, right?
We do. We do. And just come see us at RunDisney. We love everybody. We love everybody. Though I will say, anybody wearing Yankees apparel, I will not talk to you. I will not. Leave that to Riley. Leave that one to Riley. He's a Yankees fan. Try to point out Yankee and as a Florida Gator, Tennessee Volunteer fans. I'm probably not going to call you out, though. I think I might have it.
Are you a Braves fan?
I am a Braves fan. I was the public address announcer for Braves spring training for about 16 years at Disney.
Yeah, because it used to happen in Orlando. That's right. Spring training for the Braves.
It used to happen at Disney World. I was the PA announcer. Yep, I was the PA announcer for that. And Carissa was the person in the crowd for a while, and then Riley was the person in the crowd. So we're all Braves. I grew up an Orioles fan because of where I grew up, but I am absolutely a Braves fan.
How cool.
That's so cool. That's amazing.
So I'm an Atlantan, so a born and raised Braves fan as well.
I know it well. My best friend from college lives in Atlanta, so I spent a lot of time there. Usually going to Fish concerts, and now a number of people have turned off because they're like, God, he listens to Fish.
That's amazing. Oh, John. Well, thank you so much, John. Before we close out, if you have a couple more minutes, we've taken up so much of your time, but if you have a couple more minutes, we do something on the show called Quick D, which is just sort of a rapid fire question and answer. If you're willing to participate.
I am.
Awesome. So we're going to just give you some sort of like this or that, but it's Disney style, so it's Diz or Dat instead. If you're ready for us, we'll kick it off. So I think I know the answer already, but Star Wars or Marvel?
Star Wars.
Okay, food and wine or Festival of the Arts?
Food and wine, but only because of Wine and Dine. Chris and I get to go eat and drink for free.
That's true.
So I'm sorry, that tilts it right there.
Fair. I get it. That's fair.
I love Festival of the Arts.
Oh, I love it. So speaking of food, Dole Whip or a Mickey ice cream bar?
Dole Whip.
Nice. Haunted Mansion or Big Thunder Mountain?
Haunted Mansion.
Fair. You're in good company here. Disney World or Disneyland?
Never been to Disneyland, so I got to go Disney World.
All right.
Same.
Yes, I don't acknowledge anything that happens west of the Mississippi.
Right, same. John, we were supposed to be besties. Yeah.
I'm East Coast centric.
I am super East Coast. Oh, John, conversations offline. Goofy or Donald?
Goofy. And I love Donald. It's the only one I can make. But I get to work with Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy, on the Disney Vacation Club cruises, and he's a sweet, sweet man.
Okay.
And we always have a great time with him. So.
Wow.
And we do battling Goofies. I do my bad Goofy impersonation, and he does his absolutely fabulous.
Okay, well, we have to hear bad Goofy now. I know this is supposed to be rapid fire, but we do.
Gosh, guys! It's just horrible. And Donald, I can't say any words. I can just go, and I do that. The poor characters, when they come out, Donald always gives me that look, and he has that look in his eye. Where he's like judging you. And he always does it because I always go, and he just turns his head and looks at me like, "Shut up, amateur."
Right.
Oh, this is incredible. Okay, last, but very important question: Kale or Patrick? John, choose wisely.
Wow.
Braves into the woods.
Wow. That is a to make an incredibly bad joke. That's a Sophie's Choice that I'm not sure I want to make.
Oh, John. Oh man.
No, I think I'm worried that Kale's dad was like 7 feet tall, and that if we ever got into a dispute, he just and he's like 14, so he's clearly and I'm 167 years old, so he could take me.
Okay,
so I love you both. I love you both.
Right.
It rings true. Out of fear, the answer is Kale, but only based on fear.
I'm driven completely by fear. That's completely what drives my entire life is fear.
I will take it. That's fine.
Take the win. Just take the win.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. John, thank you so much. Kale, I'll let you add something in here too. But like I said before, I'm a broken record, but you and what the team does at Run Disney is what makes Run Disney an event to behold. Like it's really the crown jewel of why people come back is to see all of you as hosts, because you bring such joy in what can be a very chaotic and nervous energy kind of a morning for somebody. Yeah. So
like I said, if people have to go through a lot, if not working up to the race, but just on race day, I know people are going through a lot just getting there and getting to the start line. So if they find something that we do entertaining, we appreciate it. But it really fuels us. Because if it were just a bunch of people in lycra shorts who were, looking to PR, it wouldn't be quite as exciting a morning for us either.
Yeah,
so.
Fair. And I know Carissa is on a mission to get you to do a run, but if I can just put my hat in the ring, if you ever want to do a 5K, I will walk, crawl, whatever you need to do with you across the finish line.
Yeah, Patrick and I will do it with you. You can dress as Goofy. I'll be Don. Well, Patrick would be Mickey. I can be Donald. You can be Goofy. We got this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, understand, the only time I've ever done 3.5 miles was I had in high school track 41 years ago. I was late for practice, and the 2-mile pre-run, I had to do 3.5 miles. I've never done anything over 2 miles since. I was always a sprinter. So, is there a 5K? Is there a K? Is there a K? I can handle a K, and I might even run. I might not even have to Galloway method it. I might actually be able to jog the whole K.
We'll walk the whole thing and just sing Into the Woods the whole time.
The whole time.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I could start out with, if they bring the kids races back, I'll start there with the 100-yard dash.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
I could win that. I could take down a 9-year-old in the 100-yard dash.
Yes.
Only if I
first.
If I only have to run it once. Second time, I'm in trouble.
John Pelkey beats all the kids at Run Disney.
That's
the headline.
I wouldn't feel bad about it. I to be honest.
Right.
Take the win.
That's right. Hey, Kale.
Hey, Patrick.
How fun was that interview?
That was so much fun. I think
truly.
I think he and I are best friends.
Yeah. Well, he did choose you over me.
Yeah, he did. He did, and not out of fear, out of admiration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But no, but it did. It felt like spending like an hour with a dear friend. It was awesome.
Yeah, it definitely was like, are we at a pub? Just like
it did feel
chatting
that. Yeah,
right now? It was so great.
No, it was.
And obviously we don't record everything that we talk about, but we could have spent a full day talking to him, and the stuff that we weren't even recording, the stuff that we were talking about. He is such a fascinating, affable, generous person. It was great. It was great.
Very much so. I agree completely.
Indeed. But alas, we are coming to the end of our episode, Kale.
This is true.
Which means it is time for some quick D. And this time around... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Patrick, why don't you tell everybody at home what quick D is?
Turning the tables a bit.
And I'm going to
I actually do know what quick D is, right?
Okay, let's prove it. Let's prove it, PK. Yeah.
We usually quick D would be where the hosts ask each other a question that they've not been privy to prior to recording, and they answer it off the cuff. This time around, we're bringing back Imagine Queering.
Imagine Queering, yep.
Mm-hmm. Kale, do you know what Imagine Queering is?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's where we're given an attraction and we have to gay it up.
There you go. Look at it. You do listen to the show sometimes.
I do. I'm a fan.
Okay, I'm reaching into the Chewbacca cup to pick out a attraction. Here we go.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
We are doing the Jungle Cruise.
Okay.
I mean, it's already got the word cruise in it.
I know.
so
I was about to
we're
say
halfway home.
Okay, so I would say, Jungle Cruise is infamous for dad jokes, but I would say I would include dad bods. I would say dad bods with dad jokes.
Yeah, daddy jokes, daddy bods,
daddy
and daddy jokes. Okay, I love it. It's definitely got to have like a more of a cocktail hour on the boat feel to it, as opposed to just we're on a boat. Gays on a boat are going to have a drink.
No, absolutely yes. It needs sort of like almost sort of yacht style, a tiny upgrade from right.
Yeah. In fact, maybe that's the new title. It's just called Gays on a Boat. Right?
Yeah, or it's just Jungle Cruise Below Deck or something. You know what I mean?
Like Below Deck.
Yeah, something like that.
Obsessed with that.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, we've got Jungle Cruise Below Deck with cocktails. Maybe there's like a sing along to Anything Goes as well.
There's listen, led by me. That's my job for the rest of my life.
You
not
come out
kidding.
as Ethel Merman.
Yes,
Anything goes.
Times have changed. And we've often rewound the clock. Yes, since the Puritans got a shock. Yes.
And then so it's all musicals that are set on boats. So Titanic, the musical.
Titanic.
We do a number from Titanic.
Yeah. Is that all of them?
I guess that's it. We're done.
Yeah, I guess.
What else is on a boat?
Yeah. I feel like there's definitely a joke that I'm not thinking of about the backside of water, but it's not it's not coming to me in finalized form.
I think we all know what the joke is there.
Right.
We don't have to say it. We don't.
Right.
I mean, that's sad.
Absolutely.
I'm disappointed in us. That's gross. It's not. You know what? It's not. It's part of a healthy experience.
It is.
It's not.
It sure is. Right.
Anything goes.
You don't have to. Just kidding. Yeah. That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. To become a patron of the podcast, visit our website at gaysdothed.com/donate. For a donation of any amount, you can receive exclusive Gays Do the D content and help us continue to bring you the very best Disney news and discussions. Continue the conversation after this episode on Instagram and Twitter at GDTD Podcast. Submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See you real soon.